All right, let me do a bookshelf tour. So first, let's show off that fellow and my most kitschy piece of my most kitschy teapot, which is this one. Oh, oh, look at the eyes. Oh, okay. Wow, I'll not torture you again with all my knickknacks. I made the purple. I made the pink bubblegum monster. But so yes, let's get to bookshelf tour, where we can do my big old collection of Hugh Cook books. I think starting with, is this volume one? Yes, volume one. Age of the Wizard and the Warriors. This is Hugh Cook. He is a Australian, New Zealand writer, Australian, I think, fantasy writer who wrote in I'm going to say the 1980s, has sadly passed away, but left behind this rather huge series. Yeah, 1986. This was published. Chronicles of an Age of Darkness, and are just great fantasy books. They're sort of standalone. They're very much they're fantasy books with characters in them, and I mean that in the sort of kind of Joe Abercrombie. You kind of really feel these Joe Abercrombie, George R. R. Martin, kind of, you really feel these are actual people with struggles. So yes, uh, that there's that one here. I'm just gonna hold them up. That's volume four. Wal the walrus, the walrus and the werewolf. Look at those. They're just amazing. The Women and the Warlords, which I think I've read that one, which is just great female characters as well. The Wordsmiths and the War Guild, the Wazir and the Witch, uh, the Wishstone and the Wonder Workers, and the Wicked and the Witless. And I don't know if he completed the series, but the stories seem to stand alone on themselves. I've read the first like three of them, and they all seem to like kind of work. They seem to work on their own. I'm sure they might add up to something as they go along. I guess I will find out, because I will continue with this series. They're all big chunky books, which makes it sometimes it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to process them. But it's one of those ones that I probably should actually read while I'm actually doing this booktube thing, because I find doing booktube thing makes me go back and have to formulate my thoughts, has to make me sure I get my names right. There's a lot of stuff that really helps me kind of enjoy the books better, and also fixes them better in my brain. And I'm less of an unconscious reader who's just kind of lets the stuff flow in me and then out of me again. So yeah, they're definitely, it is one of those. Wow. Okay, well, there's some of them. It's one of those series that I just have to get to. It's one of these, like, I read the first one and then I just ordered every all the other volumes of. It was not, I guess, another part of my accumulation bent. There's The Puppies of Terra by Thomas M. Dish. A I am His Highness, Dog of Q. Pray tell me, sir, whose dog are you? A gilded kennel, or freedom among the wild dingoes, every dog must chew. Ever since the alien masters had taken control, domesticating mankind with their energy technology and the all-powerful mental leash, the human condition has changed from toil and trouble to total wish fulfillment. Only the dingoes, the obstinate ones who resist the master's leash, weren't invited to the cosmic party. Poor dingoes. So just, I love that cover with, like, yes, the electronic leash on them. I'm sure, with rather trenchant commentary on social control. Um, got Alfred Bester, The Star's My Destination, which I've read some Alfred Bester, but I haven't read this one. So it's one of these ones that I have of joy of things. The select company of science fiction novels of greatness, the place of the stars, my destination is secure. In the company of truly unforgettable SF characters, Gully Foyle stands nearly alone, sailor amongst the stars, criminal and hero, poet, rogue, utterly alone when first met, marooned in deep space, his chances of survival near zero. Gully has only begun his violent odyssey. So yes, The Stars My Destination, which is one of these books I've definitely heard so much about. So we'll have to give that one a try. Planet of Exile by Ursula K. Le Guin, which this is one of these Aces doubles because on the back of it is Mankind Under the Leash by Thomas M. Dish again. I wonder if that and the Puppies of Terra are related, or maybe they're the same book under the same thing. So yeah, Mankind Under the Leash. They used to do these ace doubles, and then Planet of Exile by Ursula K. Le Guin on the other side. Kind of a cool thing back in the day when they would package things together. I think that was it. You put them on the turnstile. You could put them on the turnstile either way in the drugstore and do it. And then I have my copies of Philip Pullman's the Northern Lights trilogy, starting with The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and finishing off with The Amber Spyglass. I watched the recent TV adaptation of the series, and I have to go back and actually read the books because I felt like they gave the series to a hack who made everything very much kind of less, not dramatizing everything, but just sort of telling the audience stuff and telling them in a very kind of blunt way. Like it's like, here are the ideas, splut, but not bringing the story to life, which I really think that it could actually be done with this thing. But there's been a movie and now this TV series where I like the actors involved. The actors involved are like amazing. The little girl they have is amazing, but the words and just how they dramatize things is terrible. Just I do not like. Maybe it'll get better. Who knows? But you start out so poorly. I just don't know. Then we've got. I think that's just one of Janine's books. Joy Fielding, Heartstopper. Why do I have this? Welcome to Torrance, Florida. Population 4,160. As Sheriff John Weber would attest, the deadliest predators to date in his tiny hamlet were the alligators lurking in nearby swamps. But that was before someone abducted and murdered a runaway teenage girl. I have a feeling this is something I'll show to Jaja, and then probably either she'll read it or I'll find some other place for it. So it's coming off my bookshelf. The Prince of Neither Here Nor There by Sean Cullen, who is a comedian turned author, lead singer of The Arrogant Worms. He did another series which books that I enjoyed. I think they're The Cheese Pirates, which was very much more a kid's book. This is more, I think, a YA fantasy, which I think I picked up from a library, judging by the library sticker on it. But I haven't tried it. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's got a little penguin or duffin, a puffin book, YA fictional, ages 11 and up. So yes, I qualify. I'm 11 and up. It's a random Garth Nix, The Ragwitch. Garth Nix, best known for his, does it say on his Abhorsen, what is it, the Abhorsen's trilogy, quadrilogy, whatever, books, in the Old Kingdom trilogy. That's what it is, with Abhorsen, Sabriel, Lyriel, Sabriel, and then various other ones after that. I love that. I love the first three books in that series. I especially like Lyriel, the second book, but I feel like it's got kind of diminishing returns after that, and I really wish he would go on and do other things. Ragwitch is a classic from the author of Abhorsen comes classic fantasy set in a world dominated by the Ragwitch, a being of sinister, destructive intent. Quiet, easygoing Paul never expected to be cast in the role of savior, but his strong-willed sister Julia has come under the thrall of the Ragwitch, and Paul himself is drawn not only into the creature's world, but into a battle for Julia's very existence as well as his own. I believe I read this. It was an okay. It was kind of like an okay kind of fantasy work. You know, it definitely doesn't have the hit of some of his. What I've found is post Old Kingdom, he's done a lot of really great short stories. He did a series of novellas, which are kind of very much like the Grey Mouser, the Grey Mouser, the Fritz Lieber's sword and sorcery stuff, with the little puppet and the I can't even remember what it is, but those are really good novellas. This was okay. This was okay. We have Nancy Farmer, the ear, the eye, and the arm, which I think I probably picked up because of some of her other books. Zimbabwe, 2194. Three children of the wealthy, powerful General Masutska steal out of the house on a forbidden adventure and promptly disappear. Bum, bum, bum. Which is probably, I picked this up because of her other books. What other books would I have picked her up for? She is known. Oh, those, interestingly enough, they list other authors' books in this publishing arm, but I don't know if they actually talk about her books. There we go. Nancy Farmer grew up on the hotel on the Mexican border. Adult, she joined the Peace Corps. Instructor at the University of Zimbabwe. Farmer spent 17 years in Africa before moving the family back to California. But it doesn't actually say what she's done. Other than she's received a National Endowment for the Arts grant, 2 Newbery Honor citations, and was a finalist for the National Book Award. Feeling it was some kind of like Norse books that I loved. I think it was Norse books that she did that I really loved. Troll books, or I can't even remember now. But yes, so I have this, and I'll probably at some point read it, because I think Nancy Farmer is definitely one of those good ones. What are we at for time? I can't really even tell. We're at 13 minutes. I'm going to stop here, and then we'll go back later. I have to remember to look at the camera up there. Yes, okay. More videos later.